we were talking about mysteries. We were talking specifically about your newest Daybreak on Raven Island, and all of the Alfred Hitchcock influences on that. And I had wanted to ask you, because we talked about Agatha Christie was the influence for your previous book, and now Alfred Hitchcock. Do you have like a bucket list of mystery people that you'd like to emulate?
I sort of do, but I don't want to share it because it's top secret. But at some point, you'll get all the influences of Fleur Bradley as time goes on. There are certain movies, that shape you, and that um, books that shape you, that are. I find it fun also to recognize that in other people's work, where I'm like, oh, I see a little bit of, I don't know, Neil Gaiman in this writing, or like you can see what someone liked growing up, or who they admire maybe, and it kind of works the same for me. And I think it's fun to use as a focus. So now it's very easy for me to sum up my book in a very quick one sentence. I can go, hey, it's Alfred Hitchcock for kids. People instantly know what the book is going to feel like. And it's so much more. Of course, the story is so much more, and there's so much more packed into this book. But it's a quick way for me to translate to the adults who are going to pick this book up and give it to a kiddo, what it's going to be like. So for the Midnight at the Barclay Hotel, it was Agatha Christie for kids, which kind of hopefully tells people, hey, it's a sort of beginner mystery, a puzzle for kids. And then Alfred Hitchcock, scary, suspenseful, but still mystery.
Gotcha. So it's not a spoiler for the younger readers, and it's a nice guideline for parents that are buying books. That makes 100% sense.
Yeah, it makes it easier for me. And it also helps a lot when you're writing. I mean, it wasn't until, gosh, the manuscript I'm working on now that made me realize, oh, you know what? That's a really good thing to sort of put on your wall and remember that that was your focus, that was your idea behind it. That's the vision for the manuscript. So anytime there's any side alleyways or little distractions that I go down where I'm thinking, oh, this would be cool to write about, I can kind of go, no, rein that in. This is what this book is supposed to be. Save this for the next book. And that's kind of how I try to keep my focus as I'm writing, as I'm editing. And then it makes it easier to then turn around and sell the book, or sell, essentially hope that people will buy the book when they hear about the description, where they'll quickly go, oh, you know what, that will be a fun book to check out.
Almost like a tonal mission statement.
Yeah, in a way it is like the yellow line on the road as you're driving. So
No, I 100% support that. I always crush my students in my writing workshop when I tell them that officially there are only 7 major plots and 5 major conflicts. Let me break them down for you. Now, don't despair. It's like knowing there are only so many musical notes, which there are. Great, but you can
yes.
still compose all of the music of the world with just these notes. And same thing with
Mhm.
plots. But when you know that there are inevitably going to be some comparisons, why not steer in the direction of a style that you love and that presumably
Mhm.
lots of people love?
You can really lean into it, and have fun with it. That's what I did for Daybreak on Raven Island. There's 13 ravens, and one of them is a raven named Poe, and Poe kind of frames the story. So that was fun for me to take all that kind of spookiness and use that as the mood for the book. So yeah, you're right. There are only so many original plots and ideas, but when I teach kids writing, with writing workshops and things like that, you can only write it your way. So every story, even though it has been done before, it has not been done by you and in your particular combination of things. And um, so you're still unique, but it does help for people to quickly know, okay, this is what this book is going to be, and this is the expectation from as a reader that you can have as you open this book. This is the experience you're going to have, because we are talking about entertainment at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that people know, hey, this is a little horror, or this is more mystery, and this is what you can expect as you're reading this book. So um, especially since I'm dealing so much with people who will never read the book, librarians, teachers. they're the ones buying it, but they will probably never read the book. They're going to turn around and give it to a kid. I mean, in the beginning, now it's mostly reviewers that are reading it, parents, librarians who do read the book, but a lot of them, the people I meet at Barnes & Noble and my independent bookstore, may never read the book, but they need to know what it's about when they turn around and give it to a kid.
I'm somewhat sympathetic. I mean, I've got a never-ending series of TV shows people have recommended to me. Just like the easiest, like just put it on and passively sit someplace while it plays, and I can't even get through that sometimes. Mostly because I'm reading books to prepare for podcast interviews. So I am sympathetic with busy adults knowing going in, and I know some writers have got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, which I think is the wrong approach. But, you know, and I agree with the sentiment behind it that yes, you've written a beautiful book. The whole world should stop and appreciate it. Absolutely, they should. But it's not effective to expect them to, because they're not gonna. So what do you do specifically beyond picking a style and a tone that's going to be easy for them to pick up and understand what they're dealing with? How do you set the expectations for people who are never going to read your book to feel comfortable enough to promote it, to bring it on to their to bring it on to readers and so
on? Gosh, I think I try to remember who I'm writing for all the time, which is the kids. So I start with that. But it is important to be able to turn around and go, hey, you know, this is what you can expect when you pick up one of my books. And also, you know, making sure that it ends up in the hands of a kid who's actually going to enjoy it, that it isn't like Daybreak on the Raven Island is a little scarier than Midnight at the Barclay Hotel. So a lot of the time when I'm in a bookstore, for instance, and someone comes up, a parent or a teacher or whoever, and they'll ask me about my books, I'll ask them who are they shopping for, and then I can sort of steer them in the right direction as far as which book is going to be the better one for whichever kid. But it really is one reader at a time. It is one teacher, one librarian, one parent at a time. And I think that that's where a lot of the time you can, as an author, get a little weighed down, because it is hard to convince people to read the book. And you're never going to get the kind of buzz that a book for adults is going to get, because it just doesn't work like that. You're giving a book to a parent or a teacher who will turn around and give it to a kid. They'll like it, but they're not on the, you know, an 8-year-old hopefully isn't on the internet a whole lot reviewing books and making sure that Twitter knows that your book is out. So it's a strange segment of the market. Middle grade is, and children's picture books are similar. YA, you're more, you know, marketing directly to your reader. But for my category, it takes a really long time for a book to take off. Like Midnight at the Barclay Hotel was very quiet in the beginning, and then eventually really took off and got popular. But it doesn't do that until it's been out there a while and you get a little lucky and it catches some buzz. So it's a very difficult part of publishing to be in, I think, middle grade. It's not for the faint of heart, and you have to be really patient and stay positive and not get weighed down by the sheer time it takes to build a reputation as an author. That's what I'm really trying to do, hopefully, is that my books are fun, they're good mysteries, and they're great for reluctant readers. That's what I'm hoping over time will happen, where, you know, you become that sort of automatic buy where someone hears, oh, Fleur has a new book out, I'm going to buy it because I know it's going to be good because she wrote it. That's essentially what you're hoping for, you know, as far as your 5-year, 10-year plan, if that makes sense.